JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 15th of July 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon live session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, some of the charts that we looked at this morning just to see how they're getting along. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation. It should not be considered as such and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yeah, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now, jumping into the charts very quickly. So the first one I want to touch on here is the German DAX, just to show you what's happening here. So this morning I was telling you guys to keep an eye on some of these levels, some of these key important levels, like for example the high of last week near the 12,843 territory, and also keep your eyes on the highest point of June, which is around 12,913 level. And you can see today we had an overshoot, but right now the price is balancing just bang on that level. So of course we will be keeping a close eye on it, and we want to see where this is going to end the day, because will it be eventually a false breakout, or will we actually see a nice daily close above this area, above this highest point of June? And if we do see that close above it, then it increases the chances for DAX to drift further north. Of course, the next little target here, as I mentioned before this morning, is the 13,500 level, but you could keep an eye on this little high of the 24th of February as well, and that's roughly around the 13,236-37 territory, roughly around there. We may see maybe a small little hold up here, but if the buying is still strong, then yes, like I said, the next target is the 13,500 level. But again, all depends on how this is going to end today. If we do see a nice daily close above it, then it increases the chances for this one to move further north. For now, the index is balancing near this level, near this June high. So if eventually, for example, if it stays below it, then maybe we'll have to wait for the next day and to see how this trading will get along. Because again, even if it stays, for example, slightly below the highest point of June, maybe tomorrow it could continue pushing further north. However, this would still leave the element of the doubt, and still could give a chance for the sellers to jump in. So basically that's why we're keeping a close eye on this highest point of June here, guys. So keep your eyes on that one. Nasdaq 100. Now here the index managed to recover nicely yesterday. So it initially, when after the U.S. opening bell, the index drifted heavily to the downside. However, by the closing bell, the index managed to recover somewhat and kind of made its way back into positive territory for the day, and yep, stayed there like that. So if we look at the cash index and where it's currently balancing at, you can see that the price is currently moving near the 10,730 territory. So just slightly above it, a little bit above the yesterday's close, but still below this barrier, the one that I talked about on Monday, the 10,843 territory, because what I was saying, that in a way, if it drops below this, then there is a chance for this one to drift a little bit further south and maybe test this short term, or maybe actually it's more of a medium term now, medium term tentative upside support line taken from the low the 23rd of March. Now again, for now guys, looking at this picture, yes, I mean there is a chance for this one to move higher. However, let's put it this way, if it struggles to overcome the 10,843 territory here, then there is a possibility we could see this one curving back down here towards this upside line. But if it pushes nicely above this 10,843 territory, then we'll once again aim for the current all-time high near the 11,069 territory, a break of which could open door for yet further acceleration to the upside. But again, for now, we are keeping an eye on this level right here. That's the high of last week, roughly around the 10,843 territory. So keep your eyes on that one. Now jumping into silver very quickly. So silver had a nice move higher today. It ended up testing the current highest point of this week. Let me just put this one on the chart very quickly. So, and that's roughly around the 19.38 territory, roughly around there. It tested that area and then drifted back down. So basically, you can see that the bulls are kind of struggling a little bit right now to move higher. Of course, understandable. We are quite overstretched here, even on a daily chart. You can see that, for example, here, looking at our RSI on a daily chart, we are above the 17 mark here. So kind of indicating a slightly overbought territory. But don't get me wrong, it might end up being here for quite a while, as for example as it did here in around mid-May, where the commodity kind of jumped above that 70 mark, stayed in that overbought territory for quite a while, for quite a few days, and even actually it drifted. It seemed like it wanted to drift lower, however it reversed again and pushed higher again. So that's why we'll be very careful here. Yes, we will keep an eye on the current highest point of this week, near the 19.38 zone. A nice good pop above it could open the door towards higher levels, but until then, as you can see, there is a bit of trouble here for the buyers. They're kind of struggling with that with that Monday's high. So let's wait for that a clearance of that level before kind of aiming for some higher levels, because don't get me wrong, we could also see a bit of a correction to the downside. However, the correction might come if we see the price falling below the 18.94 territory right here, or should I say, actually, let me just quickly reiterate that, 18.94, yes, roughly around here, guys. So basically that marks the high of February, the highest point of February, and a nice good drop below it could yet lead to some declines. However, as you can see, even if it drifts lower below this level, still there is a chance for the bulls to step in here and test this upside support line taken from the low the 7th of May. Now jumping into WTI oil. So here, just a quick update. Basically, I've talked about this one this morning. Not much has changed because, as you can see, well, it's basically stuck. So it's stuck above this 21-day EMA, which continues to provide decent support, and at the same time it's struggling to overcome its first of all 200-day EMA here, and this highest point of June near the 41.61. So we need to see a clear breakthrough the 41.61 level before, let's say, we could consider some higher levels. And in terms of the downside, we would need to see this one dropping heavily below the 21-day EMA, ideally closing the day below it, and then yes, further declines could be possible, or should I say even not further declines, but some declines, because we'll also be very careful, because there's a bunch of good support levels here that could kind of stall the fall. And then we would take it from there, of course. But again, for now, keep your eyes on these levels. On the upside, as I said, the 41.61 level, and on the downside, keep your eyes on the 21-day EMA. DXY, quick update here. So this morning I talked about DXY, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier right here, the lowest point of June near the 95.72 territory, which could get tested because, for example, yesterday we had a nice violation here, another violation of this 96.43 territory, and in addition to that, we had a daily close below it. So basically, kind of increased its chances to drift further south, and this is exactly what it's doing right now. So it's moving towards this lowest point of June, and as I mentioned this morning, ideally, in order to aim for some further declines, well, a drop below this level would be required below the lowest point of June near the 95.72 territory, because such a break would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and the next potential target could be the lowest point of March, and at the same time that's the current lowest point of 2020, and that's roughly around the 94.65 territory. So again, keep your eyes on this level right now, the 95.72. Let's see how all this is going to play out. If it provides support, then we could see a nice rebound and a push higher, and maybe a push back towards this downside line taken from the high of the 23rd of March. But if it doesn't rebound here, then yes, further declines could be possible. And something for you as well to kind of keep in mind, basically, if let's say this area does, or should I say will act as a good area of support, what could happen basically is that we could see a nice drop below this area, a move lower. But if the daily candle eventually gets pushed back and closes the day above this area, well, I mean, this is where we will get ourselves a nice false breakout. So I'll pick up on this one tomorrow just to see if something like this will happen. But again, just for you guys to kind of keep in mind, yes, a drop below this level here, the 95.72, could open the door towards further declines, but ideally for that we would need to see a nice daily close, and then we will aim for some lower levels. Now jumping into a few pairs very quickly, AUD and ZD, quick update here. I talked about this one this week, and yep, I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little short-term downside resistance line taken from the high of the 2nd of June. And initially what I was saying, that the fact that we managed to get a nice rebound from this 200-day EMA and this 1.0556 territory, that's, of course, it was a good sign for the bulls. However, we needed a confirmation break through this downside line first, and also push above the 1.0662 territory, which was the high of last week. So as you can see, yesterday we had a nice violation of this downside line and this level here, this barrier, and we also had a nice daily close above it. So this way, right now, kind of increasing the chances for this pair to move higher towards its next possible resistance here near the highest point of 24th of June at around 1.0755 territory, roughly around here. So that's going to be our next target for now, unless somehow this starts falling back sharply to the downside. But again, in order to aim for some lower levels, as I mentioned previously, a drop below the 1.0556 territory would be required. Until then, all this, if the rate does move lower, all this territory would be somewhat of a neutral one for us. But again, for now, we are leaning a little bit more to the upside here, where the next target could be the 1.0755 territory here. USD JPY, quick update here. This morning I talked about this one, and basically, as you can see, the downside line here taken from the high of the 5th of June is holding the rate from moving higher nicely. So we're seeing a nice slide here, but as I've mentioned this morning, in order to get a little bit more comfortable with, let's say, lower levels, preferably a drop below the 105.94 territory would be needed. So until then, all this area right here could remain somewhat of a neutral one for us. And for now, like I said, we will keep an eye on these levels. So a nice drop below the 105.94 territory would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, as I said, further declines could be possible. And in case this suddenly reverses sharply to the upside, well, we need to see at least a break of this short-term downside resistance line taken from the high of the 5th of June in order to kind of consider slightly higher levels. But if we do see such a move, we'll pick up on this one again, and because like I said, we do have some possible good targets here, but those targets at the same time could play out as strong resistance levels. So keep your eyes on that one. GBP NZD. So here the problem is, I mean, as you can see, for the past kind of few days, it's not really doing much. It's just kind of moving sideways a little bit. However, the fact that it's still staying above this downside line taken from the high of the 15th of May kind of gives us a bit of hope here for seeing kind of more upside. And at the moment, it seems that yes, the pair does want to move higher, but as you can see, we would like to, and well, as I've mentioned before, when I was covering this pair, ideally a daily close above the 1.9209 territory right here could do the trick for more buyers, because we keep getting these overshoots, but we don't get the daily candle kind of staying above it. So we need that a nice daily close above this area before aiming for some further upside. Until then, guys, it's a very tricky one, and yes, on one hand it seems that it wants to push further north. However, let's wait for that confirmation kind of where the daily candle, if the daily candle stays above this barrier, above the 1.9209, then yes, higher levels could be met. And finally, Euro USD. So this one is popping nicely above this highest point of June. So this is what I was talking about this morning. So this morning the pair was still below this level. However, it had already tested the highest point of June. So what I was saying, that in a way, in order to consider a further move higher, we need to see another pop above this 1.1422 territory in order to kind of consider the next potential target here, either near the 1.1458 or near the 1.1496. The 1.1496 is the more ideal level for us because that's the current highest point of this year, and at the same time it's the highest point of March. So that's why that level is the more comfortable level for us, the 1.1496. But as you can see, I mean, well, we wouldn't say maybe even but the pair is moving nicely in that direction. So now it seems that it could test the high of the 10th of March, which is roughly around the 1.1458 territory. But if that fails to withstand the bullish pressure, then as I said, the next target is the highest point of 2020, the current highest point of 2020, near the 1.1496. So of course, also just to kind of support that idea, keep your eyes on today's daily candle, because again, if this daily candle stays above the highest point of June here near the 1.1422, then of course, yes, it increases the chances of seeing that test of the highest point of this year so far. But if the pair somehow ends and the daily candle somehow ends the day below the highest point of June here, well, I mean, we will be getting ourselves a nice false breakout, and maybe a bit of a correction to the downside then could be possible. So so yeah, guys, for now, be very careful here, and let's see how all this is going to play out. But yeah, for now it is moving nicely to the upside. So guys, I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for joining in and watching this video till the end. I really appreciate your time. If you want to catch my video tomorrow morning, where I'm gonna kind of pick up on some of these instruments, some new ones, and yeah, we'll take it from there, and we'll see what what Thursday has installed for us. But for today, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye bye.